Hello everyone, my name is James Pruitt. This is my fourth lecture on JavaScript. We're continuing working on my large integer data type. Okay. Last time we left off, we said that a program is a sequence of statements, and associated with each statement is an environment. And an environment is a mapping from the identifiers in your program to values in the value store. So let's continue right there. So the starting environment, or the base environment, the beginning environment, is called the global environment. That's where JavaScript puts all its libraries in the global environment, and all its variables that it assigns when you start up. Okay, so you have, and I'm going to call this the value store. And this is the global environment. And I'm going to let that be E naught. And when you make a declaration, declarations add entries into your environment. So if I was to make a declaration, this is lowercase v, of x equal to 2, what that does is that creates an entry into my environment, and then there might be a value over here, creates a value in the value store, and then the mapping would come over here from my identifier x is mapped into this value 2. And if I do another assignment, say for instance I could say var y, and so that would add y into my environment, but it hasn't mapped it anywhere. So if I come over here and said y is equal to 3, it would, or how about let's mix it up a little. How about y is equal to hello, the string hello, and that string is a value in my value store. And so that assignment would map y to hello. These are called, this is called a declaration, and a declaration adds identifiers to your environment, and an assignment adds maps your elements in your environment to the values in the value store. It's the mapping. And this is called a declaration with initialization. So it combines these two operations. And now, in order to create a new environment, you have to create a function. So when you create a function, what you do, for instance, like last time I said var double is equal to function followed by my parameters, then I'll put my curly braces, and then it's return 2 times x, and then I'll put my curly braces. So what I did is I created a function, and it's in my global environment. So if I have my global environment here, and so this is E naught, and double gets mapped into my function object, which is my value store. And we're going to let this be my function object, and we're going to let it be to and we're going to say that this is the program. This points to the code, and this points to the environment that existed when it was created. So when this is created, it gets packed. The code gets packed together with the environment. So that environment, when this was created, since it wasn't created inside any other function, it was created. It was packed in with the global environment. The environment in which this function is created gets packed together with the code. So it's like a pair. So a function's a pair. It points to the code and the environment in which the function was uh, uh, created. Uh, and so um, when we go to execute, so for instance, if I were to call double, and then I would give it the argument 7, what happens then, the process, it creates a new environment. So we have E naught here, we have our E naught, and we have our double. And now, once you call a function, what it does is it creates another environment, and we'll call that E1, and then it takes its formal parameters, it goes up to its definition, it looks at its formal parameter, and that's X. So it enters X into your environment, and then it maps X to the arguments that you're calling. So in the store, in your value store, you have this value 7. So this thing maps to 7. And so and then this environment right here points to this parent environment. So when this program actually runs, so when this code actually runs, X is mapped to 7. So the code is going to run, this is going to run, and it's going to return 2 times. It's going to look in the environment that it's running in now. This statement is associated with this statement right here. This statement 2 times X is associated with this new environment that's created every time you call a function. And so that's going to return 2 times 7, which is going to return 14. And we can see that when we write this. Again, I recommend you run Rhino to run your code. That's what I'm using. Rhino is a JavaScript engine written in Java, and Java runs on all the operating systems. So you can put it on. I'm running Windows here, and I also have Linux, so I can run it on Linux too. And I put in all the commands you had to do for in a batch file, and I showed you last time. So I'm just going to run this is my batch file. Okay, so I got to go to CA, and then I go to Java. So now I got my Rhino. So I can say function, actually, var double equal to function x, and then we can say return 2 times x, boom. Okay, let's double check my time. I think where's my time? Okay, I'm going to push this up here so I can watch my time get away from it. Okay. So now, when I call double, with a 7, it's going to give me 14. Now, what I want to do is I want to show how you start nesting these functions. So I want to say var times. I'm going to create a function, and I want to give a y value here, and then I'm going to go ahead and skip down, and I'm going to say return, and then I'm going to return a function, a new function. See, I'm returning a function. Functions are first-class objects. They're treated as values, so you can return them, you can input them, you can store them in data structures, and that's what's called, that's what gives you the lambda calculus. So here we got function, and I'm going to call that x, and I'm going to return y times x. And then we'll close that statement off, and then I'll throw that there, and I should have times. So now I have a function written inside of a function. So look right here. So now I could say I could say var, how about var triple, triple, let's see, triple, I'll call it triple. And I can say times 3. So times 3 is going to return a function called, and I'm going to call it triple. And then I'm going to come in here and say that triple, and I'm going to put in 7 now, just like I did last time. That gave me the double 7, gave me 14, triple 7. Let's see what it gives me, 21. And I can also say triple 5, and that should give me 15. So it multiplies by 3. And let's think about that for a second. If I come here, let's come over here. So I have this function, and I call it var times is equal to function, and then I'm going to call that y, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to just put in my curly braces, and I'm going to say return, and then we've got a function, and it's x, and then I have my curly braces, and it's y times actually, and it's return y times x, curly braces, okay, and then we need one more curly braces. So what we have is a nested function inside here. So when I call this function, I create in the value store, this top level function, I have my value store. This is my value store. And here's my, I'm still in my global environment here. This is E0. So I'm going to put times in here, and it's going to point to a structure that has code, and then it's going to point to an environment here, and that's the global environment. See, when this function is created, it's defined, it's created in this global environment, so times points to that. None of this actually gets executed. So when I come down here and I actually run times 3, what it does is it creates another environment. So I have my E0, put times in it, a global environment. It creates this new environment when I run times called E1, and it associates y with the value 3. So it runs this environment. So now this environment creates a new function. So now inside it creates a new function. I have in my store, I have this new function, and it points to the code of this y times x code, and then this other environment is E1. So this environment gets the new environment, gets packed in here. So this new environment gets packed in with this function that I created inside this other function. And I know it's confusing, and I'm running out of time. So what this process of this packing of environments together with this code is called closure. And this is the environment model. This is called environment model. So I have this new function, and this new function gets passed outside when I call this function. So this new function, so if I say, and I didn't, let me cross that out real quick. So if I say var triple, and this is in the global environment, is equal to times 3. So this returns from this times function, times returns this inner function. So times in this triple will point to this new function up here, which is bound to this new environment. Okay, that's all. We'll pick it up right from there when I left off on the next one.